for God's permission to move. We are standing, willing and able.
Okay, hey guys, it's Charles with Saved by Grace. Today I'm hosting the show without JC. Shout out to JC. I heard you were sick. I'm sorry for you, brother. Hope you feel better. But today's guest, we have Analisa Uger.
Hello.
And we're just going to go ahead and interview her about just her past, the trials and tribulations of life that she's experienced, and then what her experience of being saved by Christ was like, and where she's at now, and what her life is like now. So, I'll go ahead and introduce her.
Sorry, guys. Checking myself out. Hi, my name is Analisa Uger. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. I've had some ups and downs in my life. I've had some trials and tribulations with drug abuse.
That's okay.
And sorry, that was a little weird. But through Jesus, I am saved, and I'm blessed to be here today.
All right, cool. So we'll do this like in an interview format.
All right.
I just wanted you to go ahead and introduce yourself. Give me 1 second. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty. There's an distracting echo. So give me just 1 second. Grab our producer. Oh, yeah. Echo, and it's like throwing stuff.
No, the echo is not echoing. You just hear it because it's actually a room now. You feel like it's echoing, but it's not echoing.
No, it's what we've already said.
Oh!
Yeah. Yeah. So bear with us, guys. We're just fixing a technical difficulty. Okay, thank you so much. That's our producer, Maria. Okay, so so you were talking about.
Apologize.
That's okay. Starting off. So your name's Analisa. Are you from California?
I'm from Eugene, Oregon, originally.
Okay.
Go Ducks! I've been out here in Vegas about 13, almost 14 years.
Okay, cool.
So kind of a Las Vegian now.
Yeah, okay. Kind of a native.
Yeah, kind of, not really.
And so what was it like for you growing up? Like, what was your family like?
Okay, growing up, I had a rather colorful childhood. My parents were drug addicts for a large portion of my growing up. I don't feel that influenced my behavior because I have a brother, hey Jason, who is super straight. He's a mathematics professor, never touched drugs, never did any of that. But I always knew from like a young age that I'd kind of be a wild child. So, I fully believe that my choices were my choices. And I grew up with, a pretty influential religious background. My mom was raised Catholic. My dad was raised Christian. So, Jesus has always been in my life.
Okay.
And yeah, I just,
So were you kind of involved in the church scene as a kid?
We went to church until I was about 9, and then my parents really fell off into drugs, so we didn't make it anywhere regularly.
Okay.
Unfortunately, but I mean, I always felt like I was a very spiritual person. Organized religion, not so, like we didn't go to church as much, but I still felt a closeness with God.
Okay. So you had a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And so that sets the stage for your influence in your youth. So, okay, later on, let's fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
Your teenage years, you're a wild child.
Wild.
Okay, so
super wild.
Sex, drugs, rock and roll.
All of the above, as much as I could get.
Okay.
And then I actually was about 19, and my mother got on the straight and narrow, and so I went to Job Corps. I decided that I had to do something with my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to Job Corps. I quit all drugs. I got my optical degree. I graduated in 2000 from that. So
okay.
I got on the straight and narrow, and then my father passed away. And so I kind of dove headfirst into drugs.
Okay.
And
So that was like your simultaneously your comfort zone and your poison. That was
yeah,
killing you,
absolutely. I mean,
basically.
it's something I've learned from treatment is, drugs weren't my issue. It was my coping skill to deal with the issues that I had. I don't like to feel things. I don't like to have those emotions, brought up in me because it's not a happy feeling. If the negative emotions are not good.
Mhm.
So, and the best way I knew how to deal with them was drugs.
Okay. All right.
So, and it didn't help that, I got the phone call about my dad, or my friend just happened to sit next to me and was like, well, here, just have this.
Let's numb the pain.
Yeah, let's get rid of this feeling. So,
Huh. Okay. And so when you say you dove head first, like, so this was, you went hard on it, like,
Yeah.
began to spiral.
oh, super spiral. Actually, my best friend, hi Jeremy, I'll send him a link later.
Okay.
My best friend,
Excuse me.
I was staying with him. I was like literally couch surfing, had lost my apartment, had lost my vehicles, had lost I mean, I built quite a nice life for myself. And in the span of 2 years, I went to like having nothing, sleeping on my best friend's couch. And I mean, I was pretty far into the drugs. And I came back to my best friend's house one day and he was like, here's a bus ticket to Vegas. Go live with your mom. And yes, of course, everybody says that. You came to Vegas to get off drugs?
Heard
Like,
it.
why, yes, I did. And it actually worked for a while.
Well, sometimes it's about the change of the environment.
Yeah. And the
So-
change of the people you're around.
Yeah. And it really, you can be in anywhere in small town America or big city. It's all about like, what's going on in here and here.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and I had a similar experience, it's just when you're ready to change, you're ready to change. Doesn't matter where
Absolutely.
you're at. So, okay. So, now you're in Vegas and, so what happens? You make some new friends, still part of the party
I mean,
scene?
I did really good here for a few years. I kind of dabbled with drugs off and on, and then I was working all the time in the optical industry, selling glasses. I mean, I've had some amazing jobs in Vegas. It offers a very large high end retail aspect for optical that a lot of places like Oregon don't offer. I mean, we
Mhm.
don't sell $20,000 Cartier glasses in Oregon, but we do here, Form Shops. So, I mean, it really opened up a vast world of high-end optical to me, and I really enjoyed that. And then I was out of work after the recession. It was like about 2008, 2009. So I decided
Okay.
to go back to school. And I was going back to school. I had 2 part-time jobs. I was doing everything great. And I do tend to have a little bit of self-sabotage going on with myself. Because I was like, everything is so great. I
Yeah.
think I'll go do drugs.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of a downward spiral from there. And that was 2010. So the last 8 years has been, well, minus the last 10 months. But besides that, it's been a whirlwind, but it all went down from there. The
Okay.
only thing I do have to show from it is a beautiful, almost 3-year-old daughter, Isabella Rose. Love you, Bella. I just talked to her earlier, and that's the only thing I wouldn't change in the last 8 years. But I really just flushed 8 really precious years of my life down the drain over drugs.
Okay.
So.
And so, when did it get really bad? Like, were the courts involved? Did you get,
Okay, so well,
in trouble?
I had always been meth had always been my problem until 2012 when I did heroin as well, and then that just sent for a super spiral. So I did some things that I'm not really proud of. I met a guy who was making checks, and I tried to cash a check, and so I got in trouble, caught
Okay.
a felony case. So by the grace of God, I got put into the drug court program because they were trying to send me to prison.
Mhm.
And so I now have, on the 23rd of this month, I'll have 10 months clean and sober
Okay.
from drugs and alcohol.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And And I mean, I'm still in the drug court program. I go to group twice a week. I am on probation. But rather than look at that as a punishment, I try to look at that as just the things I need in my life to make sure that I stay on the straight and narrow.
Okay.
Because I do agree with you. Like it's really where you're at in your life. You know, it's how you feel in here and the choices that you make. But there have been some things. My mom's got medical issues right now. I'm still working on getting my daughter back here because she's in Illinois. So there are some things that like, oh, you know, make you just like, oh, not necessarily want to use, but boy, drink doesn't sound bad. But I'm super glad that I have that, you know, that stability and that structure. Plus, I've got to meet a lot of really awesome people. That's how I got my job with Encore Solar. If you guys need solar panels, hit us up. Love you guys. Love everybody at Encore. But, you know, I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. I wouldn't be having the great job that I have. I wouldn't be doing the wonderful things that I'm doing if it weren't for the legal system. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So your life's not necessarily perfect.
By no means perfect.
But you have good friends. You have a job that you love.
Yes, I do.
Good environment. You know, even
Absolutely.
though we're still in Sin City.
Yeah. It is possible to live in Sin City without so much of the sin.
Yeah. Okay.
I won't say without all of it. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, we're still human, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So that kind of sets the stage for I appreciate you going into detail and elaborating on your past and kind of where you're at now, what got you here. As you know, the theme of the show is Saved by Grace, and it's about our relationship with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And so I want to talk about that now. Like, okay, so you got in trouble with the legal system due to your connection with drug abuse, whether it was actually financial or whatever. It's typically goes back to
pretty much most crimes that are committed behind drug use.
Yeah. Okay.
So
how in your personal experience, how did God intervene? And what I'm saying specifically is, I know you just kind of touched on like the legal system and whatnot, but what is your personal relationship like with God now, and how has His grace restored you and maybe filled you up with something a lot more positive than the darkness you were filled with before, when you were, experiencing that negative trail that we go on when we're getting on it?
So first of all, I have a lot of friends and a lot of people who like have that moment that like God saved them, that they accepted Jesus Christ. For me, I don't have that, because I feel like Jesus and God have been with me the entire time. Okay. Like, I mean, when I was running the streets, and I mean, I'm talking running the streets, like running and gunning, and in some very dangerous situations. And I feel like if I hadn't had that connection with God, that I wouldn't have made it through those times. Okay. So like, I mean, sometimes I sit back and I laugh, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really was sitting back going, God, why am I in jail? Why did you do this? And like, I look back now and I'm like, oh, that's why you did that. Okay, I get it.
Removed you from this situation.
Absolutely.
Which very well could have killed you.
Had you
continued down that road.
Yeah, like I always use the analogy of like, you never know how many times you step out on the road and like the bus just goes right behind you and like you almost died, but you're just oblivious to it because God's got your back. And that's really how I feel. And I know how many times though there was that I was in that situation.
Going off of that analogy, sometimes you can literally feel the wind coming off of the bus as it flies past.
Yes.
There's times where you had no clue that even happened, but you look back and you're like, oh yeah, that could have been real bad.
Well, and because of the fact that I was a heroin addict, I mean, there have been times I have died, and by the grace of God, I was saved, and He's got a plan for me, and I need to stop trying to control it, because I do tend to be a little controlling, and just realize that what I'm doing is his way and is his plan. Yeah. So,
okay.
I do want to give a shout out to Celebrate Recovery. because it is a Christian-based 12-step program, and it has changed my life in so many ways. There are 3 different nights you can go. Wait, no,
Which
2.
location?
Okay, Canyon Ridge offers Friday night services. I believe it starts at 6. Central Christian also offers it at 6 o'clock on Friday nights. I think after the first of the year they might be changing to Tuesday, but it's still at Friday right now. And on Mondays you can get it at the Crossings, which is a sister church of Canyon Ridge and Central Christian.
Okay.
So
yeah, guys, if you're a local resident here in Vegas, obviously Celebrate Recovery is connected with the church.
Yes.
And it's worked miracles in a lot of people's lives. I've seen it personally. I think I went to one myself, but it wasn't something, I don't think at the time that I was going, I was really ready to like embrace, changing and getting on the right path. So, with most people that are in recovery, you tend to, I feel like it's like a skip kind of.
Yeah.
Like you don't really crash like a meteor into the earth, but you just kind of like bounce off of it. I did that probably too many times. So.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be ready for it, but it's amazing. I mean, they have a social dinner. We call it the awkward dinner, that you go to, and then you have the praise, and they play some amazing music. They have some amazing musicians that go up and play and give out chips, just like any AA or NA. And then we have what's called a small group where you sit down and you share for about 45 minutes to an hour afterwards.
Okay.
It's really changed my life. I really appreciate Celebrate Recovery for all it's done. Yeah, I would definitely suggest checking that out.
Okay. And so we're kind of pushing into the end of the program here. So I just want to talk about now your personal relationship with God. Like, do you obviously you go to church, so that's good for like fellowship and all that, group interaction. What about, when you're alone? Do you pray? Do you read the Bible?
Absolutely. And thank you, Jason. Love you, Jason. But Jason, Chris, Dylan have got me praying before all my meals, and
cool. Okay.
Which is something you kind of forget to do, to give thanks for all the things that you have. And I try to remember to do that as much as possible now. I take a few minutes in the morning, and I mean, I kind of talk to God like he's my best friend. Like, oh my gosh, can you believe this? Like, I talk to him all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
And kind of like one of the voices in my head. But, I try to take out a few minutes in my morning, and there's a song that I listen to just about every day. Oh my goodness.
Do you remember the title?
It's right on here. Hold on.
Okay.
Oops. Sorry. But I have always said that God is like your parents. Okay, you can't just keep calling them up, asking them for stuff every time. Because if you call your parents every time and keep asking for money, pretty soon they're going to quit answering the phone. Mm-hmm. So you got to call them up every once in a while and say, hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for, giving me life. Thank you for all the things in my life. And, they'll be more prompt to answer. And I feel like God's that way too. You just really got to give back and give thanks. Okay, Alive by Hillsong, Young and Free.
Oh, okay, cool.
Amazing song.
So that's your favorite Christian
song?
Is.
Can we play it?
Oh,
at the end.
Maybe at the end.
Okay, at the end. I love it, and they play it when they give out the chips at Celebrate Recovery, and it gets you so awake and so pumped up, and yeah.
Okay.
But 5 minutes of just talking to God and being thankful for what you have, rather than needy and upset about the things that you don't have. Mm-hmm. And 5 minutes of that, or 3 minutes of that song, it's amazing.
Alive by Hillsong, I'll have to remember that.
Yes, Alive by Hillsong, Young and Free. And then also, can I say something real quick?
Sure.
Hi, April Adams. She wrote a book called Addiction Meets the Laws of Attraction, and the Laws of Attraction Made Easy. And it really, I believe the same thing with like God. Like, if you put out good vibrations and good positive energy, you'll get it back.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
She wrote those books, and she's amazing, and she's on Facebook. You can see her. Hi, April. I'm going to tag you later.
Cool. So we talked about past and pretty much the present. What are your, I just want to talk about your future
goals
plans. In your sobriety, obviously you're blessed by God. You have a relationship with God. Ultimately, what would you like to do as far as I don't know, career-wise, give back to the community?
Career-wise, okay. Well, I've always wanted to be a humanitarian. I have this need to feed people.
Mhm.
Like I someday I'll be rich and famous somehow, or maybe just rich. I'm already famous. No, I'm just kidding. But like I would like to open like more like soup kitchens, things like that. But I studied optical. I've been doing optical for about 18 years. I mean, I'm kind of off on a different path right now with Encore, but it allows me to do all of the other things in my life that I need to do right now with the court situation and with my treatment. So I actually want to go back to school and become an optometrist. And so hopefully that will fund enough money to open some soup kitchens.
Cool. All
Yeah.
right. Beautiful.
God willing.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, amazing story. Thank you so much for coming on today and for doing the interview and for delivering your message to our audience.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you. And yeah, so guys, we're going to be wrapping up right now. We thank you for tuning in and for
Thanks, guys.
listening to Analisa's interesting story. And we'll be seeing you again. Well, Saved by Grace is on, I believe, weekly, but I come on every 2 weeks. So see you again after the holidays. JC, again, thanks for tuning in. I'll be seeing you next episode. Have a great night, guys.
Okay, now I want to play my song.
Okay.
Okay.
Give me 1 sec. I got to grab.
This is actually the remix. It's Alive, the Free G remix.